Right now on Denver 7 News at 8 o'clock on Local 3, the nation continues to mourn the 6 people, some children, killed Monday in a mass shooting, and we are learning more about the victims as the Nashville community remembers them.
Today, Denver and the metro are under red flag warnings for high fire danger and wind. We'll have more on the alert.
Plus, it's the start of the baseball season. The Rockies don't start in Denver at Coors Field. They do play tonight, though, in San Diego. We have more on the changes to the game this season, meant to speed it up, which everyone's still kind of getting used to. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday. I'm Brian Sanders.
I'm Nicole Brady. Want to get back to that red flag warning. Lisa is tracking that.
Yeah, and it covers the entire metro area, portions of Boulder, Jefferson, down and through Douglas counties, and then the core of the metro area, going into effect at 11 o'clock. So the winds are going to kick up. It's pretty dry out there, and it's about to get warm. We're in the 20s right now, but we're expecting highs well into the 60s this afternoon. You're going to see 70s across parts of southern and southeastern Colorado. So again, these alerts are going to extend all the way south along I-25. That drive on I-25 from the Springs through Pueblo to Trinidad, it's going to get pretty shaky this afternoon. The mountains will also start to pick up some snow with this next storm here by this afternoon. Denver 62 by 12 o'clock. So it's about a 30 to 40 degree warm up between now and early afternoon. We'll be at right around 65 by 5 o'clock. Some pretty windy conditions through, it looks like, mid to late afternoon. And then we'll drop back down into the 50s by 8 tonight. So you'll find highs anywhere from 60 to 65 from Castle Rock to Denver, more 50s for the foothills this afternoon. Coming up here in a few minutes, we're going to take a closer look at this cold front. And again, with gusty conditions today, it's still going to be windy tomorrow, although chillier. Calmer and warm again this weekend. I'll have the full Super 7 day coming up.
And we do have those foggy conditions that remain in some areas here this morning up to I want to show you the 2 different camera views first. And you can see that we have a good drive here. Well, it's not so great on the northbound side. Southbound side is okay, but that northbound side here at Lincoln Avenue and Lone Tree, they're just calling out a new crash here, trying to get up to C470, but there's that fog that I've been talking about up to the north, and so it's very thick in some spots. That's I-25 at 144th. So as we take a look at the drive time coming out of Castle Rock, we do have some delays because of the 2 crashes. One was at County Line, now this new one right by Lincoln Avenue, so around 30 minutes on that northbound drive. The southbound side, not too bad. A little bit of traffic here and there. Otherwise, it continues to wind down for us on I-70, 270, and that north side still pretty busy all the way into downtown Denver.
Well, you can see all of the areas on this map here under a red flag warning today. You'll want to be extra aware if you're outdoors because these dry, windy conditions, it doesn't take much to start a fire.
And Denver 7's Veronica Costa is in Parker, where the fire danger is very high today.
It is. The sign right behind me tells you exactly that. Fire danger really high. We're right next to a park this morning, not too far from so many homes, so many neighborhoods, and those are the exact spots that we worry about on days like today, where we definitely don't want to see any fire activity whatsoever. Those dry and windy conditions, those are what are contributing to that high fire danger today, especially for the Denver metro and then eastern portions of our state. If you're wondering, a red flag warning means that there are warm temperatures, low humidity, and strong winds all combined together. This red flag warning, it's going to go into effect starting at 11 this morning all the way up until 8 tonight. That's going to be for portions of the east and south plains. The warning does stick around tomorrow, you guys, between noon and 7 for Denver County and Palmer Divide as well. And just to give you a visual and a reminder of how quickly these fires can start, how they can spread, this is a video of a fire that happened yesterday in Centennial. You can see how close it got to so many homes in that area. South Metro Fire able to contain and knock it down, though, when it was just at half an acre. So the big takeaway this morning, don't start any fires outside. Bonfires, campfires, all that kind of stuff. Just stay away from it for at least the next 2 days. We're in Parker this morning. I'm Veronica Acosta. Denver 7.
Yeah, good reminder.
Got to do our part,
Yeah, thank you, Veronica. Well, you can keep up with the forecast anytime as a reminder through Denver 7 Plus. You can watch the 24/7 weather stream there, an updated video forecast from Lisa. That's available for free on your streaming device. If you have a Samsung TV, we're live on channel 1035.
The Nepalese community gathered for a candlelight vigil in Inglewood last night in remembrance of 2 women who were murdered over the weekend. Police say they were killed by 81-year-old Reginald McLaren, who was the husband and father of the victims. He's been arrested for murder. Police say he confessed to the killings, saying that he did it because he recently lost his job and didn't want his wife and daughter to be homeless. The Nashville community is coming together to remember 6 victims of a shooting at a small Christian school. Singer Sheryl Crow and First Lady Jill Biden were among the hundreds of attendees at a vigil last night. The family of 9-year-old Evelyn Dickhouse released a picture of her, saying they're overwhelmed by the outpouring of love and support they've received. A former colleague of school headmaster Catherine Kuntz says their last email exchange was about active shooter training.
She was prepared. I'm sure they had run those drills.
It could have been 40, 50, 60 people killed, if not for the preparedness of her friend.
And on Capitol Hill, House Democrats are pushing for an assault weapons ban and more background checks. Republicans say the main issue isn't guns, but mental health.
Meanwhile, school resource officers are coming back to some Denver public schools next week. The district is on spring break right now, but East High School, which has had multiple recent episodes of violence, will have 2 SROs. 10 other high schools will have 1. The police department says other schools could also be added to this list later. The city will pay for the officers in schools. Down in Douglas County, meanwhile, the school board has rejected a request for teachers to be armed. The Douglas County News Press reports the leader of the county's Republican Party had asked that teachers be allowed to carry weapons at schools where having an SRO isn't feasible. Board members responded that there are no plans for staff to be armed, with the exception of the school resource officers. The district has an SRO at every middle and high school.
Aurora is narrowing down its superintendent search to 3 finalists.
Dr. Nia Campbell is currently the chief academic officer for Aurora Public Schools. Michael Giles in the middle there is an assistant superintendent with Cherry Creek Schools, and Andre Wright was the former chief academic officer at APS.
In mid-April, the 3 candidates will each have a day in the district to talk with students, staff, and families. The board will then conduct final interviews. It hopes to make a selection by late April or early May, with the new superintendent's contract starting July 1st. I've requested interviews with all 3 of the finalists, so hopefully we can get to know them a little better and bring you their stories before one of them takes over. Well, this morning we're following up on Colorado's universal preschool program and a delay in the matching system. Parents were supposed to find out today which preschool their child will attend in the fall, but as we told you yesterday, that's been delayed till the end of April. So I wanted to know more about the reasons behind this delay. We do know that starting this fall, all 4-year-olds in Colorado will get 10 to 15 hours of free preschool per week. The application process is brand new, though. Families were asked to rank their top 5 providers, then an algorithm matches them. It does take into consideration if the child already attends that school or if they have a sibling there, but I'm told that not all families knew to put that in the application, or some used a mobile phone to fill out the application and couldn't see that section. So Elsa Olguin, the president of the Denver Preschool program, told me they're very happy with the decision to postpone the matches.
For some families, this is a very big concern. If the child needs to be with a provider that knows how to work with disabilities, for example, and you show a provider that is not able to do it, we have a big problem, and we need to have the ability to do the fix that.
Yeah, one concern is making sure those families are matched with a provider that can support them. So families will get an email on April 26th notifying them of their match. Over 80% are expected to get their first choice.
Colorado Congressman Joe Neguse is calling on the Department of Transportation to fund a passenger train system along the Front Range. The new line would include stops in Pueblo, Colorado Springs, Denver, Fort Collins, all the way up to Cheyenne. Back in 2021, Governor Polis signed a bill creating a special tax district along I-25 from Wyoming down to New Mexico for this proposed train line. It's a sales tax of up to 8 cents for every $10 purchased to help pay for the train. If the funding does come through, Amtrak says the line could take 15 years to finish. More Denver apartments are encouraging their renters to sign up for Airbnb. 20 complexes across the metro are partnering with the company and are now considered Airbnb friendly. The company estimates a host could make about $800 for a week-long rental on average. But to become a host, the city does require you to get a short-term rental license. If you plan on renting out the space for more than 30 days at a time, you'll need to apply for a residential rental property license instead.
A family who lost everything in the Marshall fire is now getting a new home. We're talking to them about the long process to rebuild.
And you just have days to turn in your ballot for Denver's city election. We're speaking with one of the 16 candidates for mayor.